Hello and welcome to Jackson's Job. Today we're going to learn how to make a simple syrup and also a rich syrup. They are both really easy to do and they're easy ratios to remember. A simple syrup recipe is 1-to-1 ratio, sugar to water. A rich syrup recipe is 2-to-1 ratio, sugar to water. Here are your ingredients if you want to follow along. Both recipes ideally should be measured by weight and not volume. A cup of sugar and a cup of water do not weigh the same. Basically, you should have 150 grams of sugar and 150 grams or milliliters of water. 150 grams of sugar is 3/4 of a cup, and 150 milliliters of water is 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. In a heavy saucepan, you want to pour in some water. You want to use 150 milliliters, that's 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons. And to that, we're going to add 150 grams of sugar or 3/4 of a cup. A rich syrup will last much longer than a simple syrup, but it'll be also thicker and more sweet. Now, if you wanted to make a rich syrup, you would just add in another 3/4 of a cup for a total of 1.5 cups of sugar or 300 grams. You want to stir this to dissolve the sugar as much as possible and then turn it on heat to medium-high and continue to stir it until all the sugar is dissolved. Now, I do not recommend this for a glass stovetop because it can ruin glass stovetops that are electric. It can pit the glass permanently and ruin it. I did it on my old stove and I was devastated. Now, when it comes to about 1/2 cup to a cup worth of sugar, the volume measurement isn't that different, but when you start making larger quantities, you really start throwing off those ratios, which actually could shorten the lifespan of your syrup. And you don't want to do that whenever you're using expensive infused oils, let's say. Once you get it to a boil like this, you don't want to stir it anymore. You want to cover it and let it boil continuously for 2 minutes. After it has boiled for 2 minutes, you want to lift the lid away from you because the steam will release and it can burn you. Be very careful here. Set the lid aside and then boil an additional 4 minutes or until it reaches 230 degrees Fahrenheit or 110 degrees Celsius. You will see the boiling start to slow down and then start to speed up again when you're getting close to the stage that you want. Now, if you don't have a thermometer, just boil it for 4 solid minutes and you will be good and it'll be really close to the syrup consistency. You also could do the water test where you drop it into the water and it should form a thread. Once the time has passed or you gotten to the correct temperature, turn off and remove from the heat. You want to let this cool completely before you put it into a glass. Glass today is not the same as it used to be. Most of the glass can shatter under thermal shock, so you want this to cool completely before you transfer it over to glass. Now, you can use whatever kind of glass you like. You could use a mason jar, but if you're going to pour it on something, a measuring cup works wonders for this recipe. You can add some spices to this. You can add lemon, you can add honey, you can make this flavored any way you can think. I like to put sometimes those Loran oils in there, like the cinnamon, and it's amazing. The simple syrup stores to about a month, 6 weeks in the fridge, and the rich syrup will store up to 10 months. You will see that it's going bad when it starts to separate or starts to crystallize or even becomes cloudy. Again, don't pour this in while it's still hot. The glass may crack, shatter, or even explode. You can look this up. I'm not lying to you. Now, don't scrape the sides of the pans because you could have had stray crystals here and it can cause this to happen, which is called crystallization. Now, if crystallization does happen, you can just pop it right back on the stove and reheat it until those sugar crystals dissolve. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Thank you for watching, and as always, happy baking.